Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode of Chai with my Bhai. On today's episode, inshallah, we're going back to the uni theme because obviously people are going back to uni. And today's episode, inshallah, we're going to be
different topics.
Different topics with regards to uni.
College, uni,
uni, going back
that's
to
fitna,
protect yourself from fitna, etc.
Is it really that bad?
Is it really that bad? Is it good? Is it not good? Is it okay? So let's get straight into it. Imran, start.
He's not starting today, I'm gonna start.
Okay, start.
Listen, yeah. I want to paint a picture.
People are gonna think it's like I want to start.
You do?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't want to
They're gonna
start?
start thinking.
Oh, he must be last, isn't it?
No,
Save the best for last.
No, don't say it.
I'm joking.
I have to clarify my name.
joking.
I have to clarify.
Okay, go on.
I always say at the beginning of the show, can someone else please talk?
Should we start again?
Okay, I'm gonna paint a picture for you guys. Yeah, Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd.
Pictures are haram.
Huh?
Pictures are okay.
You can paint
Today's
True,
not my day.
innit?
Today's not
You
my
can
day. Today's not my day.
you can
Today's
paint a
not my day.
picture if it's not a living thing.
I lost my glasses, so
Oh, you can't see.
Oh, by the way, I
affects
really want
my,
to tell you, stop wearing your glasses on the show because the light reflects off your glasses. It looks so peak. You look like it looks like a proper nerd, innit?
I don't mind, bro. As long as I can see the camera. I can still see it, but
Go on, Shai, paint the picture first.
So now you're going back to uni, or you're going to uni from college, or you're going back to college, or you're going to school or whatever, yeah? So now Shaytaan, he's got a gun, right? And he's got bullets, 2 bullets in that gun. The bullet
It's
off...
clarify, it's not a terrorist thing, innit?
Okay, guys, it's not a terrorist thing. Even though we've clarified this so many times when we use the word
One
gun,
video for them
but
to...
Shaytaan is a terrorist because he terrorizes us, Muslims and non-Muslims.
Yeah, but we're not promoting terrorism. It's have to
we're not promoting terrorism.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, no, we're not.
But he's got 2 bullets, okay? Not real bullets, bullets. The bullet of shubuhat and the bullet of shahawat. The bullet of doubts and the bullet of desires.
Okay, translate that for the brothers and sisters now.
Doubts and
You just said
desires.
I just
You said it right now. You just said it now. That's like some late reaction, isn't it?
I was thinking. I was. My ear was delayed.
Go ahead, carry on, try it.
So now, university, college, at least are 2 places, okay, where these 2 things, doubts and desires, rise, okay? So you go to uni, you go to college, you're seeing sisters who are not wearing hijab properly. You're seeing sisters, they got makeup on, they're flirting with boys, you got free mixing, you got drugs, you got music, you got alcohol, all these
Party,
desires,
freedom.
exactly. You got all of these desires around you, that's desire side. So now you got doubts as well. When you go to college and uni, now you're introduced to sociological terms, things like feminism, Marxism, secularism, all of these isms, yeah?
Schisms.
And they're throwing these doubts into your heart. Okay, brothers and sisters? What point am I trying to make? Desires and doubts.
Don't laugh.
He's making deep points. I'm making deep
I
points.
love that these two, innit?
He's making deep points.
So, what point am I trying to make? These desires and these doubts that Shaytaan is trying to shoot at you now, he's aiming right at your heart. Okay? What is it that you need to do? This is advice. I'm going straight in with the advice. I told you the problem that's going to occur. I'm going straight in with the advice. You need to protect your heart, brothers and sisters. If you're going to college and uni, you're going back, your first priority is you need to think about how is it I'm going to be protecting my heart whilst I'm at college and whilst I'm at university, okay? Because right now, you may just have an open heart where Shaytaan's got a direct aim. What fortress are you going to build around your heart to make sure that, Shaytaan's not going to get me? So this is something I want you lot to think about, inshallah ta'ala, throughout the video and whilst the brothers are, giving their advices as well. But I just wanted to start off by highlighting that.
Can I just give just to echo what you just said? Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. It's not the main point of discussion that I wanted to talk about, but as a practical tip on how you can go about protecting your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about Shaytaan, الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس. That he comes and he whispers to the chest of the people. So remember, he ultimately wants to get to where? Your heart. So why didn't Allah say الذي يوسوس في قلوب الناس? Allah didn't say he comes and he whispers to the hearts of the people. Allah said he whispers to the chest of the people. And Ustad Abdurrahman, he told us that his sheikh, when he was studying Somalia, said very powerful benefit to him. He said to him, one of the benefits behind Allah saying he whispers to the chest is because the chest is like the balcony to the heart. It's like, imagine you have a room and you have a balcony outside the room, and every day you're in your room, you're safe, you're protected, the windows and the doors are shut, the balcony's closed. And every day Shaytaan, he comes, he wants to tempt you to come out of your house and do sin. He can't enter into your room straight away because your room is locked. So he'll come to the balcony and he'll whisper he'll try and seduce you from the balcony with desires and doubts and whatnot. If you lend him an ear, he'll realise, okay, this person's listening to me, and he'll start to tempt you more. He's got your attention. He'll start to throw more doubts in you. Atheism, feminism. Oh, look at this girl. Yeah, look at her. She's on it. Your parents are not here. You've got freedom. You're living out. Who's gonna know? It's gonna be one time anyway. Oh, it's just a night out with the boys and the girls. You know what I'm saying? Or bring her over to your dorm room to study. It's okay. It's just chemistry. And then it becomes chemistry. What do you have to be like?
No, in the end it becomes biology.
Huh? Biology. No, I meant chemistry in the sense where, as in, you're gonna sin, and then
Human chemistry as in intimacy.
No,
human biology as in.
No, I thought you were talking about chemistry as in you chemistrize, and then
no,
biology as in you biologize.
So what did you mean?
No, I meant as in hell, when you burn the fire, there's combustion and whatnot probably going to take place, right? So chemistry as in that you're going to be punished.
That comes after the biology. Okay,
Shakespeare.
No, that's ma'roof. Ma'room min ad-din bid-darura. I wasn't going to mention what people already knew. When you bring a girl over to your dorm room, it's going to be peak, innit? And that's punishment from Allah now.
You could pray Salah together.
Huh? You can't pray Salah
Your wife.
If it's your wife, yeah, but not. Right. The point is that Shaytaan will come to you and whisper all these things to you. Shaytaan will come and whisper all these things to you, yeah? So you have to make sure you don't listen, because if you listen, eventually what's going to happen is he's going to make his way into your heart. Because eventually you're going to open the door for him. Come through the balcony into the bedroom, chill with me. And then basically that's when he's got control of you. So one of the ways to fully protect yourself is by reading Surah Al-Nas. Because in there you say, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind, Malik al-Nas, the King, the owner of mankind, إِلَهِ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ يَوْمِ النَّاسِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ, the deity who is worthy to be worshipped in truth of mankind, i.e. Allah. From who? Shaytaan, the one who he's constantly receding, he's whispering, he's running away. الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ, he whispers into the chest of the people. So you're actually asking Allah for protection from Shaytaan, who's going to whisper to you. So every day after Fajr, you read قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ 3 times. You read قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ 3 times. And قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدْ 3 times. After Fajr, you read it 3 times. You dry spit and you wipe it on yourself. Okay. You do it after Maghrib and you do it before you sleep. Ideally, it would be better is to do it after every prayer and before you sleep. But at least after Fajr, after Maghrib and before you sleep. There's many other practical things, but this is one thing that even if you're a sister or a brother who's doing the most sins, like you're the furthest away from the deen, and you're drenched in shubuhat and shahwat, they say desires and doubts, at least if you're making this dua, provided you're praying your 5 daily prayers at least, and you're making this dua, something's gonna come out of it. Allah the best.
You know why that's so powerful as well, yeah? Because if Shaytaan then does end up getting into your hearts, and these doubts and desires do end up coming into your heart, and they corrupt your heart, that's going to lead a pathway for your whole body to become corrupt. As the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, he said that there's an organ in the body, right? There's a part of the body, there's a flesh inside the body, right? If that part of the body is kept upright, okay, then the rest of the body will remain like that, will remain upright. However, if that part of the body, that flesh, that part, that organ is not upright and is damaged and is weak, then the rest of the body will be like that. And the Prophet ﷺ said that organ is the heart. So that's why it's so powerful that you protect your heart, because sometimes, you know, brothers and sisters, they end up going uni and college, they become so stressed out, so depressed, so heartbroken, so sad. All of these feelings of, you know, unhappiness and discontentment, what tends to now happen is that, you know, their whole body starts dying. And why? Because you didn't protect your heart in the first place. You know, you allowed your heart to become so corrupt and so, you know, weak that now your whole body is like that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So before this becomes an episode of Real Talk, just DC speaking, you must give your input as well, inshallah, on what your views are on everything that's been said so far. Any advices you have to people going back to you?
I mean, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. The most important advice that I think is very valuable, and it was very valuable to me when I started college, because I don't know about you guys, but from what I've seen, the changing point that a person goes through in life is really college. You know, that college period is from where a person either becomes really good in practicing, or the person just Just like kind of.
Generally speaking,
Yes.
as
Generally-
general.
generally
But I
speaking.
started practicing in uni. But to be honest,
There
I
is
was
exceptions.
getting closer towards the dean from college.
Yeah.
There was little, it kind of the
That's
journey
where
starts.
that's kind of like
Because in
the
school,
diverging point.
in school you're very isolated. You know, you're not. There's not that much freedom. Everything's restricted. So the most
real you comes out.
the really comes out in college because that freedom is there.
Unless you're in sixth form.
And then sixth form is still restricted.
Yeah. Well, not all sixth form, but as again, if
But
you're
generally
sixth form is
speaking-
not as free as college. But
Exactly.
generally, your point stands that college, the real
Yeah.
you starts to come out.
I think anywhere where you can wear your own clothes just really shows your freedom, innit? But the thing that really,
That's a guide actually.
the thing that
like
really
it.
actually benefited
Non-uniform
me.
day.
Huh?
Non-uniform day.
That's
Wow,
how
wow,
people
once
behave
or
on
twice
uniform day.
People look like monkeys, man.
You came to non-uniform day dressed as a monkey, bro.
But when people wear the trousers below,
Oh, I think meant as in like a.
that's like
Like
a
onesie or
baboon.
something.
The baboon, he shows his butt's always hanging out.
Every animal's butt was hanging out.
No man, they have fur. The baboon has no. The baboon.
You know what he's trying to say, innit?
Yeah,
understand?
I get it. But the thing that really benefited me was the companionship that I had.
Mm.
You know the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Al-rajulu ala dini khalilihi." That a person is upon the religion of his friend. فَلْيَنْظُرُوا مَنْ يُخَالِدُ. So فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِدُ. One of you should look at who he befriends, who he takes as a friend. I remember when I started college, because I had just started practicing before I entered into college, and then the friends that went to the same college as me, they all started practicing at the same time. So when I entered into college, I was around these people the whole time. So everyone's always talking about Islam, Allah, they're taking me to the prayer room. That good company is what really makes a difference.
Sahih.
Okay? Because there's a problem. If you're around the wrong company, then that's obviously going to take you down the wrong path. But then if you're isolated as well on your own, that's a problem as well. Because Shaytaan will come to you with shubahat. He'll come to you with doubts. Okay? He'll confuse you. He'll come with shahawat. He'll make other things look, oh, both of the cameras stopped.
When?
I don't know. Let me say. I'm going to go from the shubahat section, yeah?
Okay. No,
Okay.
but check, because when was the last time you saw it?
No,
No, it must be
It
only
had
a
to
couple
be
of
soon
seconds. It had to be a
because
couple
of
of
the
seconds, right?
second-
Please play with this.
No.
Okay.
At the end, that's when
Okay.
did you guys notice the orange?
Okay, listen. And look, it's a problem, right? In both scenarios. For example, if a person's around wrong company, okay, then that's obviously going to take them down the wrong path. Okay, that influence is going to be on them from their peers, and they can go into drugs, smoking, alcohol, girls, music, all kind of
All
halal,
that,
even apostation. Okay, I mean we know people from history that just because of being around the wrong people, it can lead them to leave the fold of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and it can also lead them to leave the fold of Islam.
There's a guy in your college, right? It's famous.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Okay, and then there is the other side where a person is fully isolated. Okay, just want to chill with nobody, and that's a problem in and within itself as well, because then Shaytaan will come to you with shubahat, with doubts, and he'll start to beautify to you the things that the people are doing and make you feel like, look, you're alone, be with the people, be with the majority. These kind of statements, it'll come to you. Okay, Shaytaan will whisper into your chest, and that's a problem as well.
Something that I've always noticed, is that the brothers, like, when they start practicing, like, wallahi, Shaytaan sends the girls to them. Like, sends the girls to them, bruv. Like, you have to understand, women is like I remember when I started practicing, the brother who gave me da'wah, he said to me, he was like, Shaytaan will try to do everything now, will try to make you go back to music, will try to make you stop your prayers. When he realizes I can't do nothing, he will send his nuclear bomb to you, he said. Yeah. What was his nuclear bomb? He said it's a woman.
25 Hill Street.
Huh? 25 there. He'll send that to you. So, and wallahi, it's true. I've seen brothers that's the thing that they fall on in it. And it's true because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what did he say? He said, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. Don't go near to zina. Why? It is a path, it is a filthy act that leads to an even more evil path. So a person will go from zina to doing more sins, to doing bid'ah, to doing kufr, to doing shirk. You see? So even the woman, like you be not in a rude way, but like you be a brother who's like maybe average looking, not like the most handsome guy on the block, but suddenly girls were like, "Are you from Jannah?" kind of thing, will start coming up and chatting to you, and then once you slip off, those girls don't want to be anywhere near around you. Shaytaan just sent them there for that period of time.
You know what? That's
I
powerful.
may
as
pause
well,
for a
yeah.
moment, brothers.
Go on.
We have a very special guest outside the house. I have to open the door.
Okay.
But you may carry on.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know why Saad mentioned the issue of apostasy as well, yeah? I think that's very important that we bring and highlight it to the people. Everyone's gonna be awkward? Is everyone okay?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, because, you know, desires and doubts really and truly can actually lead a person to leaving the fold of Islam. We've seen it from experience that these two things have led people to, you know, leave the fold of Islam. For example, you know, you meet a sister, okay, she's a kafira, okay, she's not a Muslim, she's a Christian maybe, and then what happens? You fall in love with her so much, she tells you leave your religion, you start leaving your religion for this sister. Or now you have doubts, okay, you go in a class, the guy starts telling you, oh yeah, Islam, you know, Islam doesn't give women its rights. Look, you have to cover. You're not free. He starts beautifying these words to you.
You actually experience this, right?
Exactly.
Your lecturers, they try to put these short words.
Yeah. And you know why it's so important that I'm mentioning these two? Because your religion is the most important thing to you. Okay, if you lose that, then you've lost everything. Okay, so that's your main priority. That you should always be looking out to how you can protect your religion. And the best way to do that is by seeking knowledge.
And you know what, just to echo that point, Strides, yeah, people need to understand, you guys don't know, a lot of unis were actually established with like sole intentions of destroying Islam. A lot of people don't know SOAS. Look into the history of it, yeah. It was actually set up as an Orientalist institution to destroy Islam. So you have to understand that there is a hidden curriculum being taught through like an indirect kind of method.
Really?
Yes, this
That sounds like an Illuminati conspiracy.
But even if you look at it from
this is basic knowledge, but that's what I'm saying. Just Google it. You will be surprised. Some of these institutions were set up with the intent and the goal to push secular. SOAS is particularly on Orientalism to combat Islam.
It's the School of Orientalist.
African Orientalist Arts. Yeah, that's what its name is.
School of
African Orientalist Arts. Orientalism is a study.
Shouldn't it be SOAS?
It's SOAS.
School of African.
Of is not really used
like,
that time.
as in.
No, it is of SOAS, School of, and then African Orientalist has been cut out. Maybe because they don't want you to know it's Orient. No? SOAOS.
School of African Orientalist Studies.
The O.
SAOS.
Yes, where's the O for Orientalist one?
School of AS. School of African Oriental.
No, where's the Oriental?
So, School of African.
It's not hard.
Oh yeah.
SOAS.
They actually change it out.
Of African
Studies.
What's that you're wrong about?
Now, wallahi,
not
yeah.
Conspiracy theory, but mate.
The
School of Oriental and Africa. Yeah, look.
School of
The
Oriental.
of is dropped. It's school. The of. Remember, where's
so
that?
Orientalist
the of,
came
yeah,
first.
Yeah. Where's the of and there and whatnot?
No, I accept that, but I'm saying too.
No, but even generally, yeah.
Look,
Wallahi,
you made me doubt myself.
in class, wallahi,
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Huh?
In class, I've seen it. The guys that will come to you, and one time the guy in my lecture, he goes to me, "There's nothing such as the truth." So now imagine you got so many Muslims around you, and no one there knows how to tackle this problem. The guy just said to you something simple as, "There's no such thing as the truth," but he beautified it like this. He said, "Yeah, things are always changing. That's why you can't say there's always a truth and whatnot." Do you understand? And I said to him, "Look, okay, you say there's no such thing as the truth. Things are always changing. Are you a man?" He said, "Yes." I was like, "Is that ever gonna change?"
It might.
As in, no. I mean, like if you still become a woman, you're still a man. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Your soul.
Biologically, your DNA, everything
Your
is still
DNA,
there. You
you're
can't
a
change
man.
it.
Do you understand?
You can change the physical parts of it, but you cannot change your DNA. You cannot change your essence. You are a man.
So I asked him that, and he said, "Yeah, I'm a man." I was like, "So that's the truth. How's that ever gonna change?" So they'll beautify it to you and put doubts into your hearts. Wallahi, bruv, trust me. Like people are saying, they're like, "Oh yeah." Bruv,
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
miskin,
It's
like-
like that. So the point I was making was, yeah, like some of these institutions are built for the sort of certain agendas. So SOAS is for like directly Islam, but then you've got others that are there to push, like for example, secularism, or there to push scientism, which is the belief that you can't prove or establish the truth of anything except by means of science, which is a Batil principle, because there are many things outside the scope of science, right? So the point is that these institutions have been set up to directly combat the Aqidah of the Muslims. But you've never studied Aqidah. Aqidah means your creed, your belief, right? So you never studied a single book on Aqidah, a single book by the Salaf. You didn't study Imam Bukhari's Aqidah, you didn't study Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, you didn't study their Aqidah, you didn't study Imam Muzni's Aqidah, Tahawiyah, Wasatiyah, you didn't study Kitab al-Tawhid, you didn't study these things. Because you didn't study that, what happened? your aqidah, it was open to attack. So that brings me back to the point that Strides was making. It's important that you seek knowledge. So when you go uni, you have to be doing that. Because little things are going to creep in. Remember, the Salaf, they used to say that it can take, it takes 1 second for a doubt, for a shubha to slip into your heart. But it can take years for it to come out. Years for it to come out. You hear one thing. And that's why, remember, Imam Abd al-Razaq al-San'ani, rahimahullah, was a teacher of Imam Ahmed. All of his teachers were Immatul Hadith, scholars of Hadith and Sunnah, right? And his students were also, look, Imam Ahmed is known as Imam Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. That was the title he was given. That was the student of Shaykh Abdul Razak. Shaykh Abdul Razak himself, he started to have some beliefs of the Shia, Tashayyu', bits of it entered into him. Not major beliefs, he didn't become a Shi'i, but some of their beliefs he became influenced by them. Many years later he was asked, you're a man whose teachers were all scholars of Hadith, your students are people of Hadith, how did you end up being influenced by the Shia and some of the beliefs of the Shia? He said that there was a man who was a Shi'i, who I used to listen to. I was amazed by his manners. He was so nice, give little hearts. And I used to listen to him. And over time, his beliefs, they fell into me. So if Imam Abd al-Razaq al-San'ani, rahimahullah ta'ala, he's got a musannaf, right?
Which means?
It's a compilation of athar of Sahaba and...
Athar? What's that?
Statements and of the Sahaba, or things that the Sahaba did and so on and so forth. So and it's a big fat, I think it's like 30 volumes, something like that. That's him. He wasn't safe from the doubts of the Shia. And generally speaking, we all know that a person is not allowed to lend his ear to a Muslim who's corrupted. What about a kafir? Do you see? Sure. So now you're in a situation where you're going uni, your teachers are all kuffar. So the least you can do is study your aqidah. Going into uni, going into college without studying aqidah. Well, I remember when I was in college, and I don't recommend you guys to do philosophy, because philosophy it will mash you up unless you study aqidah. You studied it, I've studied it, and alhamdulillah, we were studying aqidah at the same time. Kind of, I wasn't, you were.
Right? When I was studying philosophy, I remember it was just me and another brother. We were the only we were the only Muslims in the class. But it's like the way the concept of God, of an ilah, was belittled. And the fact that its existence is like something which is jokey, right? It really can have an effect on you.
And Saad's not actually lying. I studied philosophy this year in one of my modules. Wallahi, it's peak. The way they start talking about Allah, like, you actually...
And the saddest thing is, wallahi, it's so weird. And I remember, is that because the atheist, the way they belittle the concept of God, but you have that one devoted Christian, however you pronounce it, right? You end up being on their side. And it's just like... So
because the Christian knows the Christian arguments. Exactly. And you don't have any Islamic arguments.
But then that's the problem.
We do have Islamic arguments, but
of course. It's just like you're siding with the Christian, and then you're like, the Christian be like, because Jesus is God, and you're like, yeah. See, it can lead people down that path. I never did that. I didn't do that.
Your friend did?
No. But I've seen people in it.
It's true. Because honestly, I remember my teacher. What was her name? I forgot her name.
I know my teacher's name. I think he got kicked out because he made his own philosophy textbook and he was shouting it online, so they turfed him.
Really?
Yeah, he got moved.
Yeah, my teacher wasn't he Miss Catlin or something?
Miss Trunchbull.
We don't watch movies.
Didn't say you do.
Movies not permissible to watch.
How do you not read it in the book?
Where's the book? Okay. Yeah.
Rolled on.
That comment off that.
So what do you call it? I remember there's an Irish teacher and we had some other teacher. Yeah. I think Miss Brown, her name was something like that. And she wasn't brown. She was English. She was white. But the point is that
you can be English and be brown as well.
I think he meant she was.
We all know what you meant.
The point is that it was peak because and it's funny because they were both Christians, right? They both, especially the Irish one, she was a proper Christian, but they have to teach a particular syllabus, and the syllabus is written by these atheists. And wallahi, I remember when they were teaching us for the arguments for the existence of Allah, they would always show it, like you said, as if it was weak. So I remember I was actually thinking, I was always debating in class. I was jahil. I was not practicing. I was not praying. But I was always going in with the teachers, yeah? What you call it? And I remember that they always used to make it sound like at the end of the day it's all like it's chance, innit? Can't really establish the proof of Allah's existence. And I remember there was a Shia girl who used to be in my class. She was getting proper sucked in. I mean, she was Shia, but like, anyway, obviously she wasn't like a kafir Shia, because you know Shia can reach kufr, innit? She was just a miskeen little girl, but she was getting sucked in, man. She was getting sucked in. And I remember it was peak because one day they read out a statement of Richard Dawkins, innit? I remember I got so vexed. I was like, where is he? Is he alive still? They were all mentioning people who were dead, innit? Old philosophers. My teacher was like, yeah, he's alive, he's in Oxford. I was like, say no more. I'm gonna pay man a visit. They told the teacher, they called my mum in, they were like, this guy's gonna run after Richard Dawkins. Well, it's peak.
It was a big problem.
It's peak, yeah. No, I'm not gonna.
He was not gonna do that.
I was jahil at the time. But now I'm a repented, reformed man.
Do you know what's sad as well, yeah? If you actually look at it...
Oh, sorry.
What's up?
Like, so yeah, you know why it's so deep, yeah, and sad, yeah? It's because if you look at how many years we've actually spent studying like maths, English, science, all of these kind of topics, right? Maybe it comes to like 14, 15 years, you've actually spent like revising every day and whatnot. But then you look at how many years you've actually spent studying the deen, your religion, which is that thing that's going to actually make or break you, take you to Jannah or take you to Jahannam. And you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, I really ain't studied anything. And it's deep because that is the main problem and the issue with everyone nowadays.
It's true.
That you don't study your religion and you wonder why you're in such a mess. You understand? I remember Ustad was saying a statement, I think it was on one brother's Instagram, and he said, if a person just studies the 99 names of Allah, it would just be such an iman booster for them.
Mm-hmm.
Just that, let alone everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But just the 99 names of Allah, you sit there every day, you take a name, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, and you just study these names and you're thinking like, oh, okay, Allah is the most merciful. So now you're dealing with an issue, maybe you're dealing with so many sins that you got and you realize that, oh no, Allah is the most merciful. That in and within itself is a knowledge that can help you in your life. Do you understand? But we don't take the time to study and it becomes hard for us. Abu Bakr, do you want to say anything? You haven't spoken today.
I want to mention one angle. I've been quiet on purpose. I want to mention the angle of peer pressure, because that's another thing people find when they go. For those of you who are going to college or uni for the first time, one thing, or even returning, man, one thing you find is peer pressure, man. Honestly, man, like Saad mentioned earlier, your friends can make or break you, man. Like, I remember so many people who I knew would do the craziest things just to try and impress their friends or fit in with that group or fit in with that circle. And generally speaking, in my experience, I would say that I think the girls were more influenced by their friends than the guys, generally speaking. Like, you'd see a sister who, would dress generally like quite modestly. She'll start chilling with some people, and next thing you know, like, little things will start to change. And then everyone in that circle dresses the exact same way, like they've all got the same thing. With guys, personally, I didn't find it so much. So I found that they kind of clicked like before. They were already the same before they became part of that group. But the girls, they become friends and then they all transform. Not transform, but like try and fit in. You'll find like, so the sister, like, she'll start rolling up her jeans, or she'll start tucking in her top, or start wearing crop tops or like short tops or different things. But you find and it's all because people, they don't have the confidence within themselves to be able to say no. So my little sister, she's going to be starting secondary school in September. We went to the bookstore in Birmingham, Dar al-Makkah. I found this book in English. I think it was called A Muslim's Guide to Life's Big Changes, or something along those lines. And I was reading it because I bought it for her. So I wanted to read it before I gave it to her, just to make sure that there was anything booky in there. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a proper nice little book, man. I would definitely recommend it if people want to watch it.
Muslim's Guide to Life's Big Changes.
Muslim's Guide to Life's Big Changes, and I think the author was like Rayhan or something like that.
You read it, yeah?
Yeah, I read it.
Not in book,
No, mashallah.
Should post a link below?
I'm trying to think there was anything in booking, but I don't think there was, because I ended up giving it to my sister. And it was just generally in it, just about things that happen, but like physical changes as well as, like, and just more so about the environment when you go to uni, like it's very different.
Mashallah.
For you with your friends, and it was in such a nice way. It wasn't like a refutation way. It was more of an advice to you, my younger sister. I've been there and this and that, whatnot. And yeah, man, just don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid to be yourself, and don't be afraid to be Muslim. That's one thing you find people, they're afraid, like, how many people do we know? They're afraid to return your salam. Because they don't want to come across as being overtly Muslim in front. They don't want to show their Muslimness in front of other people. Like especially like, a few people we've seen who, for example, at work, we give them salam, and like they're kind of looking at you like uncomfortably, like my colleagues over there, I can't say salam to you. I'm sorry, like, but it's just like, bro. Never be ashamed and never be afraid.
Because that's your identity, innit?
Yourself. Exactly, and people lose that, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I was discussing with my brother, and I kind of mentioned earlier here as well. Honestly, man, college can be make or break for you, man. For the majority of people, I think it is. That's when it really that's crunch time, innit? That's when you realise which way you're gonna go down. Of course, you can change after, and no doubt you could change before, but that's where you find the majority of changes start to occur. Because of, again, friendship groups, because of, again, the freedom, because of, again, all these other things.
On the freedom issue, like, wallahi, brothers and sisters, yeah, just, it's true, because that's the measure, isn't it? The place at which you receive the most amount of freedom is when it's like the real kind of you starts to come out. The real you following their desires and influenced by the doubts. I just think it's always important and imperative to know that Allah is always watching. That you're never outside of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sight. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ مَا يَكُونُ مِن نَجْوَى ثَلَاثَةٍ إِلَّا هُوَ رَابِعُهُمْ وَلَا خَمْسَةٍ إِلَّا هُوَ سَادِسُهُمْ وَلَا أَدْنَى مِن ذَلِكَ وَلَا أَكْثَرَ إِلَّا هُوَ مَعَهُمْ أَيْنَمَا كَانُوا ثُمَّ يُنَبِّئُهُم بِمَا عَمِلُوا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ Inna Allah bi kulli shay'in alim. Allah says, do they not see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows every single thing that happens in the heavens and the earth? And Allah said they don't sit in gatherings of 3 except that Allah is the 4th watching over them. And they don't sit in gatherings of 5. These little cliques, come over to my house, just me and you. Except that Allah is the 6th. Or if there's you and a girl in the corner of the uni, or you and a girl in your dormitory, Allah is the 3rd. He's there, watching. Not physically, but He's there with His knowledge, and He's gazing over you. And then Allah said, ثُمَّ يُنَبِّئُهُم بِمَا عَمِلُوا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Allah said, Allah's going to inform you of every single thing that you used to do. Allah has knowledge over each and every single thing. So never forget that, brothers and sisters. You will not turn over, as Shaykh Muhammad Amin al-Shanqiti rahimahullah said, you will not turn over a page of the Quran except you will find somehow, some way, Allah reminding you of the fact that He is watching you. This is by consensus of the ulama, the greatest and the strongest reminder that anyone can ever give you. And what is it? Allah is watching you. Allah is hearing you. Allah is seeing you. Allah is observing you. If you have that, wallahi, when you go into uni, college, wherever, you'll be safe, inshallah. That will remind you, okay, Allah's watching me, I can't hang with these people, I've got to be with the good crowd. Allah's watching me, I can't miss my prayers. Allah's watching me, I can't start acting like a kafir, I'm a Muslim. Allah's watching me, I can't start changing my hijab, I can't start trimming my beard. Allah's watching. Let me start going classes, attending classes. Allah's watching me. If that happens, then you'll be good, inshallah ta'ala. And the final thing I want to mention, and then you guys can carry on, inshallah. I don't really want to say anything else after this. Is another practical thing which I'm surprised we didn't mention it earlier, but it's probably the most, if not one of the most practical things that protects you when you're at uni, is the salah. Allah said, Inna salata tanha anil fahshahi wal munkar. Allah said the prayer, the salah, it prevents you, it prohibits you. Tanha, the salah, it prohibits you from doing what? Filth and evil. Why? Because you see, we as Ahlul Sunnah believe Iman, the strength of your belief and that spirituality, it goes up when you obey Allah and it goes down when you disobey Him. With the salah, you're constantly obeying Allah 5 times a day. Okay? So every time you pray, you could be right now, you could be the filthiest sinner. You might see yourself, I'm not saying you're a filthy sinner, I'm probably filthier than you. And I mean that when I say that. But you yourself might see yourself as like, what's prayer going to do for me? Look at me, look at all the sins I've done. Just start praying. Automatically, you will find your Iman rise. I never made a commitment to stop talking to girls. I never made a commitment to stop listening to music. I never made a commitment to stop these sins. I just said, I'm going to start praying. automatically I found that my heart was repelling this evil and it didn't want me to do any of these things. I just stopped listening to music for 6 months. Automatically, 6 months went by, I didn't listen to a song. I was like, whoa, what just happened? It was the prayer. Pray. Allah told you it will prohibit you from evil and be consistent upon it. 5 times a day. Never miss it. Go to the prayer room in the uni. Be consistent there. And I promise you, inshallah ta'ala, you will find khair.
I was just going to say in it, yeah, for those of you that don't want to go university or you're worried, we have a video regarding student loans. It might change your mind last minute, Allah might save you. And for those of you that want to know about exam study tips and how to generally revise during your uni years or college years, we have a video on that as well.
MashaAllah.
Yeah,
And since we mentioned studying while you're at uni and learning aqeedah and whatnot, we have the Muslim Survival Guide, which is an online program in which you can study your deen. You know, it's online, you watch the videos at your own pace. Videos are about, on average, between 10 to 20 minutes per video. You can watch that, inshallah ta'ala, as you're studying, and it will help you. That's the same way you're learning your secular studies. You're also learning religious studies that are protecting you from all the filth that is out there. And you can go to the link below, inshallah ta'ala, to sign up if you'd like to.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, don't lose hope. You know, some people are probably in uni now thinking that, you know, oh, I'm doing this stuff, you know, I'm indulged. Allah's always open to you, and you can always go back, repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and change your life. You know, you don't, like the brothers were mentioning, and I just want to reiterate, don't feel like you have to please the people. The people are never going to be pleased with you. Just make sure that you're pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not only will you get success in this life, but you also get success in the next life. I think we'll end it there, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khairan for watching. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.